Hi there, Mike Stoffer here with the Homebrew Network on Facebook. And this evening I'm going to be reviewing a couple beers. Earlier this year I formulated a recipe for a Kolsch. And I brewed 5 gallons of that, and I gave the recipe to Ralph Bennett, and he brewed 5 gallons of it. And we decided to send each other a couple bottles of our versions so that we could compare them and see how consistent they were with each other, or how they compared with one another. So as you can see, here's mine. I just poured it off of the Keyser back there. See it? There it is. You can tell it's nice and clear. It's been in the keg for a couple months, so I'm not surprised with that. And now I'm going to go ahead and pop Ralph's open. Take a look at it. Nice big head on there. Not quite as clear as mine, but that's understandable considering it traveled all the way to the old West Texas town of El Paso from Rhode Island a few days ago. So I'm sure it would settle down and clear up nicely in the fridge. In comparison, it's hard to tell with the cloudiness of his and the clarity of mine, but the color seems very similar. Aroma is almost the same. You almost couldn't tell a difference between the two. Very, very, very similar aromas. The color of the head is the same as well, which mine's already dropped, but it's a very, very light beige head, very creamy looking. And you can see that mine's already kind of starting to lace up a little bit. And let's go ahead and take a taste and see what we find out. Okay, that's Ralph's. Has a very malty taste. You can taste the German malts in this beer. The grain bill of this beer, I should mention, was a Pilsner, wheat, Munich, and a little bit of honey for just a tiny bit of sweetness. And then the hops that were used was bittered with Hallertau, and then flavored with Tettnang and a real quick Hallertau aroma addition at 10 minutes. So I tried to keep the recipe traditional as far as German ingredients go. We used the White Labs Kolsch German ale yeast, and I'm real pleased with how mine came out. And I'm telling you, Ralph's is pretty tasty. It's got just a tiny bit of sweetness to it. And maybe that's not even the right word. It's almost a caramel type sweetness, but it's very subtle. Now let's take a taste of mine. Mine actually seems to be a bit more subdued, and forgive the foam on the mustache. That's how you do it. Anyways, mine is a way cleaner flavor. The flavors aren't as pronounced as Ralph's. Ralph's has a much stronger malt flavor, which is interesting. Mine was kegged and his was bottled, so I find that to be very interesting. Neither one of them has really much of a hop flavor or much aroma for that matter, but they're very well balanced as far as bitterness goes. Very, very close in flavor, but again, I think mine, for whatever reason, seems to be not so much lacking in flavor, but it's a very clean flavor and not as much malt forwardness as Ralph's. Both of them are very enjoyable beers, but you can tell a difference between the two. Uh, I'm really not sure of the details as far as Ralph, what temperature he fermented at, or any of that. I think our mash schedule might have been a little bit different too. Um, I did a step mash. I did a protein rest and a sac rest. I think Ralph just did a sac rest and sparged from there. And both very good beers. And I'm very glad that I got to try Ralph's. I appreciate him sending it to me. And he's quite a beer maker. I've been sampling a couple of his beers over the last few days, and I've enjoyed all of them. It's really fun to take one recipe and have a couple people brew it up and see how different it comes out. And, it's that's the lovely thing about this hobby, is no two brewers brew alike. So with that said, again, cheers, Ralph. Thanks for the beer. Very tasty. Good job, my friend. Don't forget to follow us on Homebrew Network on Facebook, and check us out on www.homebrewnetwork.com, where we have some recipes and a few other fun little tidbits for you to look over. And meanwhile, keep brewing, and cheers.